All right. We are live and ready to go. We need our signing in sheets so that we can sign in. Look at that. We got a couple of minutes before we get started. Thank you. Appreciate you, ma'am.
No problem.
We're going to need our books today. Justin, Wendy.
How you doing, Mr. Doctor?
I'm well. How are you? All right. Well, good morning. Good to see everybody in their places, ready to go, having their books. Make sure that you sign on some sign-in sheet this morning. Make sure your signature is legible so that I can read it. All of that kind of stuff. We're going to be on page 70 in our workbook. Couple of things we're going to do before we get started this morning. We're going to talk about our goal. What's the goal of the group today for this session? The goal of the group is going to be to learn more about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We're going to look at how that's going to hook into our spirituality and recovery and stuff like that. Now, I mentioned it yesterday, but let me share it again, that on Monday we're going to be doing a little thing. It's going to be very simple. I don't want anybody to freak out over it or anything like that. It's going to be a pre and post assessment. Not a test, but a pre and post assessment. Whatever we're going to do on Monday's class, we're going to have a pre-assessment that we hand out. I'm going to be here on Monday, so I'll bring that with me, but I'll have left it at North before I get out of there. And it's just going to be assessment saying how much I know about whatever the topic is for Monday. And then at the end of the class, we're going to have another assessment to make sure that we've learned a little something from the class that day. So our goal today is to learn about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We have a couple of little things we need to do before we get into that. If you have your book, we're going to start on page 70. This is where the fella is walking around showing his knees and playing on the chair. Let me share this with you. That's not recommended. Don't do that. Yes. 70. We're actually going to move over to 71 pretty quickly because there's some things here that we just need to talk a little bit about. Look, we're going back into a real life now. We're going to be doing some things. We're going to complete treatment. And sometimes, anytime we come into treatment, we're always looking at completing treatment, right? We don't want, this is no place we want to stay for the rest of our lives, although this is a very, very good place to be right now. It's a really nice facility, and there's really good people that work here. However, the end game is for us to get out of here, right? Get back into our own place in our own life, doing our own thing, right? So when we get out there, what's our goal? What do we want to do once we get back to where we want to be? What's our goal? Staying out there, yeah. Staying focused, staying out there, maintaining what we have, staying sober, all of those kinds of things. We need to do that. So some of these questions we're going to look at real quickly this morning. What's the word? Lends itself to that. It's pointing to that. When I get out of here, I got to have a goal. I got to have a plan. I got to have everything focused in that direction. I have to be at a place where I have made my mind up. I'm going to stay clean. All right? Now, there's other people around me who are not going to stay clean. What am I going to do with those people around me who don't want to stay clean? Kick them to the what? To the curb, somebody said. We have to kick them to the curb. I'm going to have to make some hard decisions. Now, I'm going to make those hard decisions if indeed I'm really in here to get sober and stay that way. So if I'm not, then maybe that's not what I'm in here for. Maybe there's some other kind of reason. Maybe you just really, really, really like these groups that we do. Now, I can tell most of you are really excited about the group. So here's the thing. I want to go over this, and then we'll just question it just a little bit. What are some of the ways that you went overboard? Now, this is on 71. What are some of the ways that you went overboard and did too much in your life before you came into recovery? Drugs? Yeah. We did a lot of drugs. One of the things that I was guilty of was thinking about me. I went way overboard on thinking about me. It was, because of the fact that I was into drugs and alcohol, it was all about me. It wasn't about anybody else. That's why, I shared with the group the other day. I stole my mother's jewelry so that I could continue to use, and she didn't have much. So it was all about me. So that's one of the things that I did too much of. You said you did too much. You just got really involved in the use of drugs. What else? Anybody got anything? What did you do just overboard? You did too much of it. Anybody got anything? What was it?
Later on, wasting too much time.
Yeah, wasting time, just lazing around. That's what drugs will do for you. Y'all ever heard of the term amotivational syndrome? I have taught a little bit about amotivational syndrome in here, but not really extensively. Who knows what amotivational syndrome is? Nobody? Amotivational, anytime you put A in front of any word, it means the opposite of that word. So if you say A black, it means white, right? So A motivational means what?
No motivation.
No motivation. You're not motivated. Amotivational. Just the word motivational with A in front of it means that you're not motivated at all. So what drug causes amotivational syndrome? All of them will cause amotivational syndrome because you get motivated to do the drug and not to do much of life beyond that. So the one that we really know that really does it is marijuana. Marijuana gives you a motivational syndrome. You don't want to do anything else. So what I've done, we've all done a whole lot of stuff that has led us to where we are today and led us away from the places we need to be. So what are some of the aspects of your life that you neglected before recovery, doing too little of it? Some of the things that I neglected.
Work.
Hygiene. Yeah. Didn't wash the things that needed washing. Absolutely. Just not I neglected my family. I didn't really worry about those guys. I neglected spiritual things. I didn't want to have a whole lot to do with God because at that time I wasn't too worried about spiritual things. I was worried more about my drugs. Children, just neglected those guys. So we often go to extremes in recovery programs too. A lot of the times in here we'll do that, especially in our early sobriety. If you've seen this in your life, what tells you that you're going overboard? Trying to get into recovery, and sometimes we can if you can get too much of anything, you can get too involved in anything, and if you get too involved in anything, it's going to hurt your recovery, right? Not going to help your recovery. So some of the things that I really got involved in my early recovery was getting too involved in AA. It just became a real religion to me for a while. I'm still involved in it. I still think it is one of the most magnificent programs that's ever been invented. But at that point in time, that's what I did every day, all day, studied it like it was the Bible and all of that kind of stuff. So I get a little overly involved in all of that. I also got overly involved in some other things. I made it into a religion, and I got involved when I went to work. Guess what I did? I worked like 24 hours a day. I really, really just got way too involved in my work. So we need to pay attention. Here's the thing. Most of the time we don't pay attention, and when we're not, and I'm not talking about in group, I'm talking about in life, when we don't pay attention, things sneak up on you. Good morning. Right? When we don't really pay attention, things can sneak up on us before we know it. Our addiction has come back and said, wouldn't it be fun to do this? And it might be fun to do that. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but after that, it's back to that grind that we were in before. So we're gonna hold off on that and do some more of that tomorrow to close down the week. But today we had one more thing on the self-care thing. We went over all of the self-care stuff yesterday except for one place. And I want us to look at that real quickly. It's kind of housekeeping just to get that done, to get it completed so that we've got all the self-care stuff done. And then we'll get on to the hierarchy of needs. Professional self-care. That was the last one. We just didn't have time because I got real long-winded yesterday and all of that kind of stuff. But what does professional health care, what does that look like to you? When I'm taking care of my own professional life, what does that mean? Say it again. Yeah. Okay. What else?
Working, so financial.
Working, making sure we got a job to start with.
Work ethic.
Have a good work ethic. Say it again. Being spiritually in tune when you're at work. Yeah. That's a good thing. I try to always be spiritually. I'm really thankful for this job because this job allows you to be spiritually in tune and expects you to be spiritually in tune. Family oriented, have your job. That's a real what? Unique way of looking at that. My job needs to be family oriented because I'm going to work at my job to get money to help my family get whatever they need, but also I don't need to neglect my family to be at work. Right? I just called my wife before group, went out and talked to her for a few moments. We're having a tree taken out this morning. And I told her, maybe you should move your truck a little bit, honey, so the tree doesn't get anywhere near your truck. She told me, you mind your own business. That's my truck. It's in the right. It's all right. Now, if that tree falls on that truck, you guys are witnesses because I did call her and I did tell her to move the truck. It's not very close to the tree, but have you seen those things on Facebook? You cut down a tree and it jumps 3 houses down and falls on it. It's a pretty good sized tree. So I'm hoping it doesn't fall on him. The only reason we're cutting it out, it kind of leans down like that, and the leaves hang down, the limbs hang down, and it touches her truck when she drives out.
She might be trying to get a new truck.
It's a 2025. It ain't but 2 months old. She doesn't really like it because it's one of those that's got all self-driving and it'll talk to you, put your hands on the wheel, you're getting off the road, all of this, slow down. It will automatically slow you down. If you're pulling up behind somebody, it'll slow you down. The windshield wipers come on by themselves. I'm thinking it's like it's haunted. It's possessed. Oh my God. We were driving to church last night and it started raining. The windshield wipers, and I'm looking at her and she said, "They know when it's raining." I said, "Okay, all right." And I'm not nuts about it because you got to know that stuff's gonna go out. When you stop at a stop sign, the truck shuts itself off, but it keeps the air conditioning working and all of that stuff working. And then when you hit the gas, it'll start the engine back up. You got to know at some point that stuff's gonna go. And what kind of shade tree mechanic's going to be able to fix that stuff? Maybe surgeon, but the rest of it, it's just going to be nasty. That's why we got the extended warranty that covers all the crazy mess until the truck's got 150,000 miles on it, and when it makes 149,000, we're going to trade that thing in. Yeah, that thing's gone. So here's some of the other stuff that I can do is I can improve my professional skills. You guys are all brilliant. You guys all have good jobs and all of that kind of stuff. But do you know that no matter where you are in that job, you can improve your skills? I know a guy that's a welder. And man, he showed me a picture of his welds. And good grief, welding's an art. Right? If you're a welder, you know that welding's an art. It's not. Oh, yeah. If you run a good bead, man, that's beautiful. And his beads are beautiful. They're fantastic. They weren't always that way, were they?
No.
See, I went to school when I was a kid to be a welder. How many folks in here know that I'm not a welder? I'm not a welder. Because I'll tell you, I learned how to tack weld, and I think if I practiced for a while, I could probably tack weld again. But look, I never did get beyond the level of being able to tack weld. And so, I'm not a welder. So if I was a welder, I would have had to get to the place where I could do that better. And whatever your job is, you can get better at it. This is why this morning I did some study with the computer. I had my computer up and I was going through a computer program to teach me how to do computers, how to work with computers and stuff like that. There's a program out there that's called Allison. It's a company. It's from England. And they have all sorts of free programs that you can get on there. You can get all sorts of training in computers, psychology, whatever you want. It's ALISON. Now, at the end of it, sometimes you can get a certificate or you can get a diploma at the end of that study. You don't have to take it, but that diploma may cost you something. Sometimes it'll cost $30, $40 to get a certificate, $300 or $400 to get a diploma, but you don't have to take it, and you still have the training. And so, because it's free, and that's a really good thing. So I can use that, and that's what I'm doing right now to improve my professional skills. I'm not an IT guy. I'm not any of that kind of stuff, but it does help me to be able to work on the computer, right? So that's what the boss in there told me. He said, "Look, you don't have to do that, but it does help." So I'm learning to help. Sometimes, look, is it a good thing to be able to say no? Yeah, when you're working and you like your boss and you like your company, and you like what's going on and you enjoy getting paid and all of that stuff, and they come and ask you to do something, and you want to say, yeah, I'm going to do that, right? Back when I was in the military, that's one of the things that, I hadn't learned, that it's a good thing to say no sometimes. And man, anything, I was ready. I was up for everything. And, sometimes it was a good thing, and other times it wasn't. Sometimes it just wasn't all that good a deal. Yeah. But we need to be able to get to the place where we can say no to added responsibilities and things like that, because that's going to overwhelm us sometimes, right? So in my professional life, that's what we when we're talking about self-care, sometimes I need to be bold enough to say that's not something I'm willing to do right now. Right? I don't mean being mean, nasty, or ugly, but I need to be able to say no. We can take on projects that are interesting for us or rewarding to us. That's going to help us with our self-care. How many of us realize that if I'm really enjoying the work that I do, it's not like work. Somebody have heard it before that if you whatever you have as a hobby or something like that, if you can get that as a job, it won't be a job anymore, right? Because it's just something you really thoroughly enjoy doing. Have you ever had a job that you just really thoroughly enjoy doing? Yeah, I got 3 jobs right now, and I really thoroughly enjoy most of them. Might be one that's a little bit off right now, but so take on those projects that are interesting to you. Learn new things related to your profession. Try to learn new things. Why do we want to learn new things? Even if we learn new things that is not related to our profession, is not going to help me in my job, it makes us feel good about ourselves, right? I've always wanted to play the guitar. Anybody here a guitar player? No guitar player. I always wanted to play the guitar. I went to this lady and she said, "I guarantee you, I can have you playing a song within a week." I said, "Okay." So she worked with me and she worked with me and she worked with me. After a week, she said, "I'm sorry, you can't learn how to play." Okay, that's your failing, not my failing. Man, you made the guarantee, not me. So, I've always wanted to do that. But look, if I had been able to learn how to play the piano or to play the guitar or to play the violin, whatever it is, that have made me feel a little bit better about myself, right? Because it's just something else that I've added to the things that I can do, and that would be good. Learn new things. Take time or make time to talk, build relationships with other people. Should you make friends with the people at your work? Yeah, you need y'all be friends with the people. I'm friends with most of the people at my job. I've already been here at this place. I've already been accosted by a couple of the counselors this morning. We won't say which ones of them accosted me this morning. It kind of was. She was helping the one that was. So, but it's okay to be friends with your colleagues at work. It's okay. Now, when your friendship goes beyond that to a relationship, sometimes that's not okay. We shouldn't be looking for relationships in our workplace. That happens all the time, happens with alarming regularity, but it's not what we're supposed to be looking for. We're supposed to be looking for a real friendship, right? Because if you're my friend and I ask you to take care of my sign in sheets, then you will.